Good day, fellow gentlemen, gentlewomen and gentle persons. If you're returning, welcome back, and if you're new here, then allow me to introduce myself. My name is Stockton, and I'm a writer. I have quite a few pseudonyms, Larkin and Writer being a couple that people know me by. So seeing as this is the first video in my new rebooted channel, a little information about me. I am from the greatest country in the world. It's right there in the name, Great Britain. I am from England and from a small county called Yorkshire, South Yorkshire more precise, and you might know a few people from round here, Sean Bean and Jeremy Clarkson. I went to university at London Metropolitan and studied computer games programming. After that, went to live in Prague, working for the Bohemia Interactive Simulations, who are the military side of the game dev who make the game Armour. After leaving there and returning back to the UK, I have been living here again for the last 10 years, and my most recent accomplishment, if you really wish to call it an accomplishment, is suffering a heart attack at the age of 33. Genetic heart disease, not cholesterol, so that's good. Not good. Ever since I was a child, I loved to write, and I know the exact moment that I found out that, which was during what the UK people would know as the SATs. I was asked to write a small short story, about a page. I wrote about 15, so that story is actually published as well, fairly recently, edited and up to date, so it's not the little thing I wrote back then, but it's basically the same, called A Curse of a Paladin, which you can actually find in my store or on Amazon or on my website. Speaking of stories, I have written over 45 stories in various settings. The main settings of these stories are Fera, The Way the Stars Fall, Void Apostasy, The Fall, and there's a few smaller other ones. If you want to check them out again, links in the description for my website and Amazon and various socials. So, first off, why did I make this video and why am I doing this again? Well, if you know me, you probably know that I am terrible at marketing myself. I've tried Facebook ads, Google ads, Amazon ads. I'm on Twitter, not calling it X by the way, and I've just wanted to show off the vast worlds and information and lore that I've created. So, while writing the world of Fera, I made a wiki to keep track of all the information that I had. And there's lots and lots of information going back from modern day of the world to the ancient history. So, lore videos, you'll expect quite a few of them, a few vlogs here and there, some writing videos, maybe live streams if I can do that. But give me some information in the comments if you want to see anything really. So, the main part of this video. What is the world of Fera? Known as Fera World, sometimes, Fera is a fantasy world with a history ranging from modern day to the ancient history. Imagine the real world, but with magic, in its own dimension and stuff. So, sorcery and technology in most books and series and TV shows have always been just interchangeable. Magic always seems to be used in lieu of technology, and I actually enjoy it more where it actually matches each other or faces off against each other. So like anime such as the Saga of Tanya the Evil is a perfect example of a world with magic but also technological process. You have magic powers and then you have modern warfare, tanks, artillery, radio. Fera is very similar to that sort of aesthetic, and actually I do have a character inspired by Tanya called Hildegunda. There's a short story called A Child of War, which you can also again check out. There are quite a few nations in the world of Fera, and the most common ones you'll see in the novels and books are set in the Three Kingdoms. a collection of nations centered around one corner of Fera's massive ocean. These are Ilmaria, Alrosia and Umisia. These nations have changed over time. There was also one nation at the centre of this called Nargothrond, homeland of the Ustun, the ancient elves of Fera's settings. So, in the future, you might find out what happened to Nargothrond, why it's no longer there, and who the Ustun are. The actual planet of Fera is approximately 2 Earth sizes. So it's twice the size of Earth, twice the mass. Confusingly, in most fantasy settings, they have the same days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's 365 days in a year, 30 days in a month, which is weird if it's a different world. Fera has a completely different calendar. It has a yearly cycle of 500 days, split into 10 months of 50 days a month, which has 10 weeks, making up a 5-day week. Different days as well. You got Moon Day, Tower Day, Wine Day, Saints Day, and Swords Day. All this is thanks to a lunar calendar and a simulation that I actually ran to generate this properly, so it does actually work. With the Fera has 2 moons, Lara and Vara, with Lara being the smaller and the closer of the 2 moons, with a 5-day rotation around Fera, creating a lunar week, and Vara being the biggest and furthest with 50 days rotation, creating the lunar month, and throwing in the rotational cycle around the sun of 500 days. That's how we get the calendar. In most fantasy settings you have gods, powerful beings and all that malarkey. Fera, again, not too dissimilar. The gods, most of the gods in Fera are just powerful beings which have ascended to a higher plane rather than being natural gods, like creationist gods and stuff. But there is a creation myth for most nations. That is what is known as the ancient gods. There were 7 gods who apparently created the world. The first was Narasil, the goddess of life. She brought the breath of life to a barren rock and created all that was to be. However, that was not to last. The second god that existed was Orasil, the god of death. With life there must be an end, and Orasil was just that. Orasil ruled with a mighty fist. His wrath became the very reason for mortality, thus he became the ruler of undeath and mutation. Third was Sjur, the god of time. With life and death, progress in the world began, and thus time was created. The fourth that was created was the Faceless One, the god of fate. A many-faced god with no face of its own, fate weaves the way, and many faces see all. The fifth was Sisnet, the god of sexuality. Fate brought people together, and that resulted in sex, love, lust. All this came to Fera with Sisnet, but there was a problem with that. The sixth was Savas, the god of anger. Love led to lust, led to jealousy, led to hatred, led to anger, murder. More and more the god of anger was fueled. And finally, the seventh, Anok, the god of knowledge. Through understanding your anger, enlightenment and intellect grew. Knowledge was finally gained. Although these are the most common ancient gods, there are far more, and as in the real world, there are nations with many, many gods. There's the Ablosians with their gods, Fior, the god of chance, Rudun, the god of nature, and Udar, the goddess of good luck. Just like in many fantasy worlds, there are many races and cultures. There are humans, dwarves, halflings, orcs, half-orcs, goblins, dragonkin, and kobolds. There's the elven races of the Ustun, the Asagi, Korluk, Rusalka, and Uralti. The half-races, half-orcs, half-Asagi, half-dwarf, dryads, fae, gnomes, gotling, vampires, and the siren, who were once a powerful race called the Yaslan, whom were enslaved and their entire culture turned to slavery for the ancient Ustun millennia ago. And all of this in future lore videos. There is so much about Fera that I want to share, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And that's just Fera. I have other worlds too. I'm currently working on a massive novel called The Citadel of Darkness, a modern horror story about a writer trapped in a world of creation, trying to write his way out. And I'll definitely be doing a video about that, and where the inspirations come from for the story. For now, I'll leave it there, not wanting this video to get too long, and if you're interested about anything I've spoken about, you can check out my books on Amazon, my website. There are links for my socials and even my Discord where you can jump in, have a chat. So, see you next time, and hopefully see you in the world of Fera.